it is really important to celebrate when anybody, and I'm not a fan of the South Park guys, but a large part because of their Iraq war stuff. I have a long memory. But nevertheless, we should celebrate when they do anything that is perceived as being disrespectful to this administration. They sign a $1.5 billion deal with Paramount 2 days ago. And then they release an episode of South Park that craps all over Donald Trump, that has Donald Trump literally in bed with the devil. And the devil's mad because he wants to know what's going on with this whole Epstein stuff. And Trump's like, don't relax about it. And the whole story is about how South Park is being threatened by the Trump administration. They need to show fealty to him. So they make we're not going to play it because Paramount is very, coincidentally, very uptight about their copyright. But the South Park people, one of the things that they've developed is a deep fake technology. Let's just play like just 5 seconds of the big naked Trump figure.
Wait, what do you mean? Like him going through the desert or?
Yes, like, towards the end there. Yeah.
Okay, because I don't want to get the actual nudity. But maybe
Why?
we could because we'll get.
It's blurred, right?
No, it's not blurred. And we will absolutely get this episode put behind an age restriction. But we'll just. I'll just skip through the desert AI thing here. We can do stills of it. Go ahead. He's in the desert, and it's all about him.
And he takes off his clothes.
So
now
I'm going to stop now.
Well, let's stop. Now, what happens is he completely disrobes and falls into the sand there. And incidentally, there's a narration that talks about him as Jesus as a way. And this is a public service announcement that the town of South Park is developed to pay homage to Trump so that he doesn't sue them. They negotiated a $3 million settlement, and there's a great line like, "Oh, we can do that. All we need to do is cut housing and police and fire services, and we should be good." and then there's this line. Well, he falls to the ground, and then an animated penis-shaped object emerges from his groin that has a mouth, a tiny mouth that talks
and
eyes. Apparently, that was the deal they had to strike with the company, so that they weren't actually showing. They were showing an anime, like a character, not a piece of his body.
Dark Soul writes in and says it was made to look like Mike Johnson, which I didn't. I haven't seen the unblurred one, so can you confirm if that's true?
It's hard to see because I've only watched it on my phone. But this is the audio that they write about Donald Trump, and
I just saw it. That's not true. It looks like what it is anyway.
And here is the last line of it, which I love because I rarely play stuff like this for Saul, but I thought this is appropriate. And he's been repeating this line for the past 24 hours.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I endorse this message.
Trump. His penis is teeny tiny, but his love for us is large.
There you go. His penis is teeny tiny, but his love for us is large. But the best thing about this is that it is, yes, I like the fact that Donald Trump is upset about it and that it literally has an image of his teeny tiny penis. But it is a message to everybody else. Like, I think it just encourages other people to be not afraid, which is really important.
Right. And like there's first of all, it's comforting to know that Saul found it funny. I mean, like that's tale as old as time now. Middle school boys loving South Park. That was like my childhood too. But like it's important because I do think that the Department of Justice is going to have overextended itself at a certain point. right? Like, I mean, they are responding to everything, and there's only a certain amount of first
bandwidth.
of all, bandwidth, and two, because South Park has the audience that it has, it's also a kind of thing that shifts as Kyle Kalinske would say and he said with us, like, the vibes around Trump, which is, it's fun. It's cool to make fun of him again.
Yep.
It's always cool to make fun of the president and the person in power, but I think we're now we've crossed that threshold too, and
it was never like this in term one.
No, and it wasn't
there was a lot of parody of Trump, but the Epstein stuff and the sort of this is a little bit. I think there's just some of the sheen is off him now. And
it's less the libs doing it, and Matt said that off mic. It's more like now this is kind of a popular culture spillover that is more going to be consumed by the people that we would need to depress turnout from or to switch to our side, basically.
Now, there's some people who are very upset about this on comedy grounds. Let's go to the professor of comedy. Brian, do you have that?
Good.
No, I don't have that queued up because it wasn't that good.
Oh, but it's important to hear criticism. There's a First Amendment, so
we have to engage with these ideas.
We have to engage with these ideas, but there are some people who feel like this is too lowbrow. That in many respects it is it is one thing to do deep political satire, where you talk about policies, but to make comedy about, Donald Trump being a beached whale and having a teeny tiny PP, and also to have him jump into bed with the devil and have Satan complain that Satan is not interested in making love to Donald Trump because he's so upset about his Twitter feed being full of Epstein comments. I mean, that is lowbrow.
He's pearl clutching while selling a skateboard that says "Don't be gay" on his.
Let's play
That's the highbrow thing.
Let's play the highbrow critique.
South Park has a new episode after the creators scored $1.5 billion in a deal with Paramount. And the latest episode that came out and is trending is about Donald Trump, to which Newsweek says South Park eviscerates Donald Trump after Paramount gives them $1.5 billion. And it was terrible. I watched the episode. It is a miserably bad episode. Guys, holy crap. The jokes are 10 years old. I'm not kidding. I like South Park. They did fantastic when they were making fun of wokeness, PC principle. The problem with even how they mocked wokeness, however, was that it's just straight on the nose saying, hey, remember thing? So they got this latest episode where Donald Trump is the president, and the joke is basically that he's fat, has a tiny wiener. That's it.
No,
they don't
pause it. Actually, no. That's actually not the joke. In fact, that wasn't in the episode until literally the last minute of it. The joke throughout was that Trump was suing them, and that also there's all that interplay with the Satan. There was a lot of other jokes there. I don't think he actually watched it. I think he just watched the last segment.
And also, he is not, even if he had watched it, prepared to actually comment on the substance. This is sort of a requisite claim that he's making so he can engage with the topic.
And Wicked Observer says, yes, South Park is signaling the emperor has no clothes, that he thinks he's Jesus, but in turn what happens is he's just naked, and he's driven by his deep, deep insecurity that is, I guess, illustrated
biological
by his tiny talking penis. Good.
Principle. The problem with even how they mocked wokeness, however, was that it's just straight on the nose saying, hey, remember thing? So they got this latest episode where Donald Trump is the president, and the joke is basically that he's fat, has a tiny wiener. That's it. They don't actually get into anything. It's, I got to be honest, guys. If you've been following South Park,
he did not watch the thing. Look, I'm not a South Park fan. People know a long time. I'm not a huge animation fan, despite the fact that I work in that industry. The joke, the whole episode was rather specific and about Donald Trump leveraging his power and intimidating people.
There's Canadian tariff sort of bit.
No, I mean
diplomacy and stuff.
Tim Pool's like, I expected highbrow comedy from the makers of Towley. Give me a break.
Also,
but they provide it.
He says that they didn't get into, and then he bites his tongue because he can't list things that they would make fun of, because then he would be admitting
that there's something to be made.
Yeah,
this is Tim Pool really trying to clean up on aisle 9. This is what's going on here.
This show's been on my whole life. It's kind of weird. They had that episode where Stan, one of the characters' parents, are going to get divorced. And I guess it was like a facsimile of the debate between Matt and Trey over whether they wanted to continue doing South Park. And it was very obvious they did not. But it's a strong IP that makes money. So they decided to keep doing it anyway. And it feels like the horse is dead. It's beaten to death. And now you're just dragging it down the road. So they came back with these specials. Some of them were really weird. Like a decade after Occupy Wall Street, they did an Occupy Wall Street episode. It was like, guys, are you out of ideas? And now they're doing this. And let me tell you, guys,
back on form.
Donald Trump is Saddam Hussein. Not funny. They're not playing at Trump. This is what the left does. Okay. And I think
he's the left.
It's
They're
funny
the left
because
now.
I don't know if you could include Matt and Trey as in the left, but
yeah,
I would assume
probably not.
They're going to fall in the default liberal position, meaning, wokeness is an easy target, and they decided to go after it. Some of it was really good. Some of it was a little too.
Wait, that's the default. That's
liberal
the default
position is that wokeness is bad. Well, does he even spend 5 minutes before even thinking about this stuff?
Talk about out of ideas.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Wasn't he saying look, I don't know if I want to do this anymore? You're the one who has hit the wall, Tim.
Well, on the nose, right? But it's okay, at least there's institutions coming out against it. The problem with this, my friends, Matt, Trey, please hear me. I want you to make fun of Donald Trump.
They're not.
But you
your
have
friend.
to make fun of Donald Trump in a way that actually makes fun of him.
How?
So here's what I think. CBS nukes Colbert. They were losing $40 to $50 million per year on this. Why would they have Colbert up and running at a loss of $40 million a year? Well, I think it was political. You're basically saying we want to pay for messaging. If you were a political elite, let me phrase it like this. If you're rich, what do you want for? When you've got, let's just do some math, right? Let me actually do some math. Let's say you have
boring. It's so he's trying to shove this into a hole. How can he he's got to do a South Park video. How can he do it without embracing the critique of Trump? And this is what he comes up with.
He has a washed up rock star as one of his family or one of his sort of regular co-hosts, but all of his responses to this sort of stuff, and whether it was the trans singer who he said turned trans to re-extend their punk rock career. He says their career has peaked and that's why they're doing all this stuff, as opposed to any type of sincerity, or maybe South Park guys feel an obligation given that they have a giant deal and a reputation to speak out against this. It's because they're woke now.
We should also say, in the show, there is Cartman and the other main character. I can't remember their names. They're ending by committing suicide or attempting to. And I do think that they felt what they were doing at least has an opportunity to end what they're doing.
Well, they've been doing it for a while. It would make sense if they're okay, we have this major deal. We either get rich or we go down in a blaze of glory. And that seems to be what Tim is missing here is they already have like buckets and buckets of money, lots of money, and so they don't need to worry about it. And if they maintain them, then they just keep getting rich and they can keep doing what they're doing.
They were tweeting like 3 weeks up to this episode coming out that Paramount has been screwing our deal. Like F Paramount this, F Paramount that. Like they don't care at all.
Right.
They're going Jimmy Butler mode.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.